here he lives in that particular state of mind. Things are going on well. You see the love and the spirituality that becomes enlightened in his life. Tremendous dedication to Ramakrishna. You see, now Ramakrishna is his master, his guru. He visits him from time to time when nobody is there to get instructions, to sit at his feet. Again and again they visit. Now let me tell you how dramatic this is. If, for example, on one day they were saying, okay, here is some food for you. He said, it's 11th day of the lunar month, I'm not eating today. Oh, Ramakrishna, I know what to do. I'll eat some. This is prasad. Now we see, Nagmaya, Maharaj, prasad. So they're given a leaf plate, banana leaf plate, they give prasad. So he said, eat this. Nagmaya said, this is fantastic. This is nectar. He gobbled up the prasad and he gobbled up the leaf. This leaf has touched the prasad. It cannot be cast away. Swallow it. One day, one other disciple, through Ramakrishna, gave him a blanket. Now you don't give this man a blanket, because when he said, it's come from the great man himself. So he put the blanket, normally the blanket you wear around or he put it on his head and started wandering about with the blanket on his head, because it must be given the right place, on top of my head. Weird to the, incredible character. All his life, tremendous humility, tremendous love of humanity, tremendous power of celibacy visible in the life of this marvelous personality. Let me show you the link between Narendra and Nag Mahashaya. Here is this, the chief amongst the monastic disciples of Ramakrishna, and here is the chief amongst the household disciple of Ramakrishna. How do they link up? How do they relate? Every time Nag Mahashaya saw Vivekananda, he would fall flat on his, on his tummy, Dandavat, and say, today I've seen Shiva, bless me. And Narendra says, okay, calm down. Very unusual relationship. And there was another disciple I'm going to talk about, Girish Chandra Ghosh. One day he classified both of them. And look at the classification. He said, you see, this world that we live in, this kind of difficult world that we live in can be, this wrong image we have about the world can be broken in two ways. Either, you see, in order for you to break free from this network of illusion, either you become bigger and bigger and bigger so that the net cannot hold you anymore. You break the net. And this is what Vivekananda has done. He grows in stature, the spiritual stature, that nothing holds him down. He's able to experience himself with the spirit. All illusions are cast aside. He breaks free from that net of illusion. This is one way of escaping, of becoming spiritual, Vivekananda. Then he looked at Nag Mahashaya, and there is a second way you can kind of escape the net of illusion, said Girish Chandra Ghosh. Rather than become bigger and bigger and bigger like Vivekananda, you become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. You become so small that you go through the net. This is Nag Mahashaya. To be, this is not arrogance, but to grow in stature, recognize your divinity, is one way of breaking free from this kind of very limited existence we have. And the other way is to become smaller than the small, humbler than the humblest. And this was not made up. In later life, when Nag Mahashaya ever visited Belur Math, and Vivekananda would call all the disciples, come here. Today, bow down. This is the example of a true householder. Because here, nothing is pretense. He means it. You saw his life, the way he would gobble up a plate. In the future, whenever he was offered any food on a plate, they would give him the food and they snatch the plate and run away. Otherwise, he'll swallow it. You're fanatic. But what a fanatic. By becoming humbler than the humblest, he manages to sneak through and discover his identity as the spirit. Two major pathways, bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest. Where do we get this from? From Kathopanishad. The spirit is bigger than the biggest. It is you can either call him as infinite or call him infinitesimal. Both are the ways of escaping the relative world that we live in and touch base with our infinite nature.